Want to learn English without memorizing boring grammar rules? You're in the right place. Here's the magic of storytelling. While you're enjoying an exciting adventure, your brain is picking up real English, naturally. That's the power of learning with stories. And guess what? We post a new video every single day to help you grow your English fluency step by step. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story that could change your English forever. Let's dive into today's adventure. Leo had always dreamed of visiting Paris. Not just for the Eiffel Tower or the pretty streets. He wanted to eat croissants, baguettes, fancy cheese, and meals that looked like paintings. He had watched so many cooking shows and YouTube videos that he could almost smell the garlic butter through the screen. But there was one small problem. He didn't speak French. And that was fine, he thought. People in Paris probably spoke some English, right? With that confidence, he packed his backpack, booked a cheap ticket, and flew into the City of Lights with a heart full of hope and a stomach ready for adventure. From the moment he stepped off the plane, he felt something different. Everything looked poetic. The signs, the buildings, even the people walking their tiny dogs seemed to belong in a movie. The first 2 days were perfect. He wandered through neighborhoods without using maps, got lost on purpose, and took hundreds of photos of things like coffee cups, bread, and even doorknobs. Every little thing felt magical. But on the third evening, something changed. Leo had been walking for hours near the river. The sky was soft pink and boats were gliding along the water. He hadn't eaten since late morning and the hunger had become serious. He passed by cafes and restaurants, each one looking more beautiful than the last. But he wanted something authentic. Something no tourist would ever find. That's when he spotted it. A small place down a side street. No English sign. Just a blackboard outside with white chalk letters. Locals were sitting close together, laughing, talking fast, drinking wine. It smelled amazing. Whatever they were eating, he wanted it. Leo took a deep breath and stepped inside. The waiter nodded at him without smiling and pointed to a table in the corner. Leo sat down, pretending to be relaxed. The menu arrived. It was all in French. No pictures. No explanations. Just mysterious words dancing across the page like a secret code. He had no idea what anything meant. He considered pulling out his phone to translate, but something inside him said no. He was here for the real experience. He wanted to be brave. He stared at the menu, trying to recognize even one word. Then he saw it. It looked long, fancy, impossible to pronounce. But something about it called to him. Maybe it was the rhythm of the letters. Maybe it was fate. He pointed to it when the waiter returned. The man wrote nothing down, just nodded and walked away. Leo smiled to himself. He had done it. He had ordered a real French dish in a real French restaurant like a true explorer. Now he just had to wait. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then something arrived at the table next to him that looked like a tower of meat with steam rising from it. The smell made his stomach growl loudly, and a few people nearby turned and laughed gently. Then it happened. His dish arrived. It was something. It had layers. It had sauce. It had something green on top, something that looked suspiciously like a leaf from a tree. It was both beautiful and terrifying. He picked up his fork and took a bite. It was strange. The texture was unfamiliar. It wasn't chicken. It wasn't beef. It was soft but had something inside that popped slightly when he bit into it. He chewed slowly, trying to smile. Then came the second bite. This one had a stronger flavor. Like the ocean and mushrooms had gotten married and moved into a spicy little apartment together. His mouth was confused, but he kept going. After a few more bites, his brain decided that he liked it. Or at least he liked the idea of liking it. He imagined himself telling friends back home that he had eaten something wild and fancy in Paris. Suddenly, the waiter returned and asked him something in French. Leo had no idea what he said, so he nodded politely and said, "Yes." The waiter raised an eyebrow and walked away. 2 minutes later, a second plate appeared. Another one. Looked even stranger than the first. This one wobbled slightly like it was alive. It had a sauce so bright yellow that it looked radioactive. But Leo had already committed. He wasn't about to back down now. He took a bite. It was cold. Cold and soft and kind of sweet, but not in a dessert way. More like a mistake. So he kept eating. Because that's what brave travelers do. Right? As he struggled through the second dish, a man at the next table leaned over and said something in French. Leo gave him a thumbs up and smiled. The man chuckled and switched to English. "You like escargot, huh? Not everyone can handle 2 portions." Leo froze. Snails. He had eaten snails. Twice. His face turned red, but he laughed anyway. The man raised his glass and said, "Respect." Leo nodded and finished the plate like a champion. Later that night, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His stomach made some interesting sounds. He couldn't believe what had happened. But deep down he was proud. He had taken a risk. He had stepped out of his comfort zone, tried something new and survived. More than survived, he had a story. A weird, gross, funny, amazing story. And that, he thought, is what travel is about. The next morning, he walked into a bakery and ordered a croissant in the clearest English he could manage. The lady behind the counter smiled kindly and said, "Of course. 1 croissant." Turns out she spoke perfect English. Leo laughed all the way back to his hostel. Every time someone asked him about his trip to Paris, he started with the story of the dish he couldn't pronounce. And every time people leaned in wide-eyed, waiting for the punchline. It never got old. Even months later, when he was back home sitting in his regular coffee shop, he thought about that night. He had learned something more than just what escargot meant. He had learned how to enjoy being uncomfortable. How to laugh at himself. How to be in a place where nothing made sense and still feel alive. And maybe, just maybe, he had learned a little more about who he was. You just experienced a full story in English without memorizing rules, and look at that. You picked up expressions, sentence patterns, and real-life vocabulary naturally. That's the magic of storytelling. It sticks with you because you enjoyed it. We post new videos like this every single day. So if you liked this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's learning English too. Now it's your turn. Have you ever ordered something without knowing what it was? What happened? Drop your story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.